Hey guys, first before we start the video, I want to say thank you for 300 subscribers on the main channel. It really means a lot. We've been growing very steadily recently and it just feels so good to know that there's a 3 instead of a 2 as the first digit. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Second, we have a second channel, go subscribe to it right over here. That's it. That's all it is. And third, well, I have a video, right? Welcome to my Nintendo Switch Pro Controller review. In this review, we will be deciding if this $70 controller that doesn't come with the Switch is worth it, especially when you compare it to something like the Joy-Cons. Hey guys, I'm Callum from CR Inventions, and this is my Nintendo Switch Pro Controller review. So usually if I would do a review on a product like this one, I would start with an unboxing, but I don't have the box. So I guess there's no unboxing this time, but either way, here is this Nintendo Switch Pro controller. It might look very familiar because yes, it's been out for over 2 years now. I just happen to have actually gotten one recently, which I'm very happy about because I really like it, but we're not there yet. We're not there in my opinion. So as you may be able to tell, it looks very similar to a controller from another popular console known as the Xbox, if you've ever heard of it. It feels quite similar. It's clicky just like an Xbox controller, and it has almost the exact same kind of grip. It's not quite like a PS4 because it's more in the shape of an Xbox One. PS4 is a little more elongated, but that's besides the point. It looks very similar in design and feels quite good in my hand. So let's begin the review by getting some close-ups of the design of the controller, but also just me talking about why I like it and why I may not like it. So first of all, the design. As mentioned quite a few times earlier, it's very similar to an Xbox controller. It has the same clicky sticks. It has the same bumpers and triggers. It's got the same A, B, X, and Y, but in a different spot. It's got the same D-pad. It's got the same home button as on a Joy-Con. I don't think Xbox controllers have a home button. It has the same capture button as on the Joy-Cons. It has all the same buttons, plus and minus. All of that is here, is also on the Joy-Con. But the main difference, as you can probably tell, is this one is shaped very differently from this. This one's basically a square, while this one is actually like a normal controller. Now, the Joy-Cons, obviously they're a lot more versatile because you can slide them out and do all that cool stuff. But when you put them in the Pro controller, they're just not quite as nice as if you just pull out an actual Pro controller instead of the grip. So let's go over some of the things I really like about this controller. First of all, the buttons, A, B, X, and crap. First of all, the buttons, A, B, X, and Y, they all feel really good. They're nice and big, especially when you compare it to the Joy-Con, which, as you might be able to tell, the Joy-Con A, B, X, and Y are a whole lot smaller than the A, B, X, and Y on here. So that's really nice for people with big fingers or big hands like me, or someone like Isaac, or any of my other friends that you've seen on the channel, or really just any of my other friends, to be honest. Another nice thing is that these controller sticks feel really nice. They click. Those are very satisfying things. They also move very smoothly. And to be honest, from my testing of Smash Bros. And Minecraft and other games on the Switch, there's almost no lag on this controller compared to the Joy-Cons, which I've had for about 2.5 years now. About 2.5 years now. There's a lot of lag and there's a lot of controller drift. There is none of that on this. Maybe because this is brand new, but still, these feel so nice. They have no lag. I haven't had any drift problems, and I haven't had any problems with it yet. The controller itself also has a lot of nice little details that aren't really like actually helping the controller, just more aesthetic. It's got the Switch logo. It's got some patterns imprinted on top of it, just for some branding. It's even a little bit, it's like translucent on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see the battery inside. Oh, and speaking of batteries, so on an Xbox controller you have to regularly replace the batteries. On this, you just have to recharge it, and the battery can last, on the box says up to 40 hours, but I haven't had time to test that because 40 hours is a long time. It also has USB-C on the front for when you need to charge it. You can plug in the charging cable to the dock on your Switch and then plug it into here, as so, and then you can plug the bottom half into your Switch and it'll connect your Pro controller to the Switch. Now the downside of this is I'm actually not sure if you can connect the controller without the cord itself. You might have to use the controller, but I'll look that up later, and if I find an answer, I'll leave it here on screen right now. Now let's go over the other thing in the box that comes with the controller, which is this cable. I like it a lot. It's about 4 feet long. I'm not exactly sure on that, but it snaps into the controller and out of the controller easily. This is just the USB cable. This is USB-C. So actually I could charge my phone with this cable because I have an S8. But yeah, it's really nice. It works well. No problems with it. The controller is also really nice, as I have mentioned, and so far I have had almost no problems with it at all. And my favorite part about this, other than it feels way nicer than that little square Joy-Con grip thing, is that there's almost no lag, and I've seen actually no drift at all in these controllers. Sure, they might be brand new, but I haven't even heard any problems about drift on these controllers either from other people, which makes me really like these. But for as nice as this Pro controller is, there has to be some downsides, including that you cannot use this controller on certain games. Now obviously on stuff like Smash Brothers and Minecraft and even Crawl, which is a personal little favorite game of mine, this thing is completely usable. There's nothing wrong with it. But on games like Mario Party, you have to use half a Joy-Con, which kind of sucks because I would much rather use this all the time than a little half Joy-Con or even the grip. Another downside is if you have been using Nintendo consoles for a long time, this is going to feel foreign to you because unless you had a Wii U Pro controller, you're not going to be used to this controller build unless you go to your friend's house a lot, play on Xbox or PS4, and then you'll be used to it. But trust me, it's not that hard to pick up even if you haven't played a lot of Xbox. Like, I personally don't own an Xbox, so I'm not really used to this shape, but I picked up on it really quickly and it was completely fine. Finally, one more downside, I guess, is that this isn't really the easiest thing to take with you, which is kind of what the Switch is all about, being able to take it with you. And taking this extra controller with you, I mean, it's fairly heavy. I mean, it's not heavy, but it's like fairly heavy. And Joy-Cons are a lot more convenient when it comes to moving around and like going to somebody else's house or going on a trip and having your Switch with you. It'd be much easier just to take your Joy-Cons with you instead of an entire Pro controller. But now that I've said everything I wanted to say about the Pro controller, I'm going to give my little rating on it, and I would give this controller a 9.5 out of 10. It feels so much better than the Joy-Cons, especially if you have big hands. It feels good to foreign players who don't have a Switch or have an Xbox or something. They can just pick this up, get nice and used to the games and the controller really easily. It feels so much better. There's no lag. I haven't had any problems with lag or drift. The sticks feel nice. The buttons are big. There's nothing wrong with this controller, if you ask me. So 9.5 out of 10 is the score I give this controller. It's nearly perfect, only if it was, lighter, like some little things that could easily be fixed. But with all that out of the way, this completes my review of the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love this controller. I highly recommend it. It's only 70 bucks, which might be expensive, but if you want good controllers, then get these. And just so you know, Joy-Cons are still, I believe, 60 or 70. So basically you could buy this, or you could buy 2 Joy-Cons that will end up drifting and lagging on you a lot within a year. So all in all, this is a great controller for a fairly high price, but as most controllers are, around 60 or 70 bucks, it's not really that big a deal. And yeah, overall this controller is awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching my review of the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. I'm Callum from Sierra Inventions, and I will see you in the next video.